Hello friends, welcome to my channel. And in today's video, we will look at the feedback, workplace feedback, and what is the importance. And then also we will look at different models of feedback and all in the subsequent videos, right? So today let's see what is workplace feedback means. Basically, the workplace feedback is any information you provide to your employees, your team members, so that you are helping them to meet their individual goals or the team goals and organizational goals, right? That is the purpose of the feedback. And the feedback can be given for the two reasons. One is in terms of how they are performing, right? The job performance. See, every year we set the goals for every individual, correct? So, and anytime you give the feedback, you need to tell them how they are doing with respect to their goals. What is their accomplishments versus what is the expected results. Right? That is one part of it you need to cover in the feedback. And second one is in terms of their behaviors. Okay, while achieving their goals, while delivering the results, how that person is behaving, whether that person is collaborating with others, whether that person is cooperating with other people, or whether that person is behaving rudely with the customers, or whether the person is not able to express his or her views. Is there any problem with the communication? So these kind of behavioral issues you need to highlight. So it should be given in two aspects. One is in terms of performance, what is the accomplishments versus expected results, and then what is the behavior of that person, right? So these two aspects we need to cover. And if the feedback is given in the right manner, it really helps that person to bridge the gaps, and also it motivates that person to do more, and if he's doing something good, he will try to do more of the same thing, and he will try to deliver more results. And so the feedback can be given in both positive as well as negative. Means if somebody is doing good, we need to give the feedback that yes, you are doing good. Similarly, if somebody is not performing well, probably you need to give that feedback saying that okay, there are some gaps and you are not able to do this. Maybe you need to do or to follow some kind of other approach kind of thing, right? So that is the purpose of the feedback. And if the feedback is given in the right manner, definitely that will help the person to improve, right? But unfortunately, we see a lot of issues happening in the organization with respect to giving feedback, right? And these issues are across the board, right? Many organizations, they face these kind of issues. That is because primarily the people who are giving feedback, they are not trained to give the feedback, right? How they can effectively give the feedback, they are not trained on that. So that is the reason why we see a lot of issues. So let's look at what are those issues. Most of the times people focus on negative feedback. The moment you say feedback, they think that okay, the managers think that I have to give I have to point out the mistakes of my team members, but that is not correct. The feedback not necessarily only on the negative side, or not necessarily only on the gaps. It can be even on the positive side. You can also tell you are doing great, please continue to do that. But unfortunately, many times we see managers only focus on the negative feedback, and what happens is that demotivates the other person, and the other person get demotivated. The second one, even if you give a positive feedback, we don't specify what aspects were good. For example, typically in the performance review period, if a person is getting top achiever or A++ grade, whatever it is, the manager simply say, I'm happy with your performance and you are getting top achiever or A++ grade. But the managers never tell what is that person did well, what went well, right? So the person may accept that top achiever or A++ grade, but the person is bit confused sometimes. Okay, maybe my manager had informed me what went well. Probably I would have got a clarity on what I need to focus more on, right? And third one is timely feedback is not given many times. Very, very important, right? Many times we see, okay, if something goes wrong, for example, the presentation was not good, and the report was not good, and the work, they could not deliver their results on time. Then what happens is the managers, they don't give feedback immediately. Most of the times people wait for the performance review cycle. It can be at the end of 6 months, or it can be at the end of the 1 year. They wait for that performance review cycle, and then they give the feedback saying that you have not given presentation well a couple of months back, or the report you have prepared was having some issues with the data, right? Or the customer was not happy with your results 4 months back, and then this person is clueless. The person who is receiving the feedback is clueless because he would have forgotten, and then probably he may struggle to correlate with what his manager is telling sometimes, right? So as a manager, you should give the feedback immediately once that incident happens, and whatever it is, whether it is good or bad. Even if it is good, you can just go and appreciate the person immediately after the presentation, saying that you have done a great presentation. Same way, if some report is not wrong, not correct, or if something happens, you can go and tell, okay, I want to talk to you. There are some issues are there. So immediately the person can correlate. The person who is receiving the feedback can correlate with the feedback. But unfortunately, we see many people wait for the performance review cycles. And feedback is not focused on how to move forward. Many times, many times, this is the biggest problem. Of course, there are models, feedback models many organizations use, and there is a flaw in the model itself, because most of the times feedback is focused on what went wrong. The managers never explain, how can the person move forward, or if the person have to follow a different approach, right? Because something is not working well. So as a manager, you need to recommend, you need to tell your team member what the other person, what that person can do to improve the situation, whether he can do a different thing, or he can do the things differently, or whether the approach is needs to be modified, whatever it is, right? But unfortunately we don't see that, and people are stuck up at the problem itself. They never show how to move forward. So that is the biggest problem. Now, the feedback, we said, there are feedback can be, feedback should be on job performance and behaviors. Similarly, when it comes to types of feedback, there are two types of feedbacks mainly. One is the reinforcing, that is the positive feedback. Okay, you are doing great, please keep doing it. Because somebody is doing something great, you need to encourage him to, or encourage her to do that work again and again. The same way, the redirecting or constructive. This is basically, we call it as a negative feedback. Instead of using negative feedback, we call it as a constructive feedback, right? So one person is doing something wrong. Maybe you need to tell, okay, you need to stop doing this way, and probably you need to start doing in a different way. Or maybe your approach, there is some small flaw. Maybe you need to modify your approach. Right? Either we need to tell them something to stop, or something to start, or something to change. Basically, the redirecting or constructive feedback, we call it as. So when we give this, reinforcing feedback and redirecting or constructive feedback, as I mentioned, definitely it will help the person to improve, and he can become more successful. And Ken Blanchard, who is the management group, he says feedback is the breakfast of champions. That means if you want your team to be successful, if you want you to be successful, you should give the feedback to your team. You should receive the feedback from your team, right? So with that, we will end this video. But in the next video, we will talk about different feedback models. Right? I talked feedback and feed forward. All those things we will look at in the next video. So please stay tuned for more details. And my name is Vijay Kumar Pita, and please feel free to contact me if you have any questions, or if you need any information. My coordinates are there. If you enjoy the video, please like it. Please share it with your friends, family, and colleagues so that they can get benefit out of it. And then please subscribe to the channel so that you will be able to get the latest updates. Thank you for watching this video, and please take care. See you in the next video. Bye bye.